Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We have Gino Pack joining us, and he's going to be presenting on the Business Central 2024 Release Wave 2. And if you have any questions during our presentation, we do encourage you to ask along the way. You can put them in the Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen. Or if you'd like, you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you to ask your question. And we'll also have Q&A at the end. But we do encourage you to ask your questions. So feel free to take this opportunity to take advantage of Gino's time and ask as many questions as you would like. So now I'm going to turn it over to Gino to kick off our presentation.
Great. Thank you, Angie. Hi, everybody. My name is Gino Pack. I'm a pre-sales solution architect here at Inovia Consulting. I've been with Inovia for about 5 years now. Took a little bit of a break, helped with an ERP implementation and end user, but now I'm back in a pre-sales solution architect role. I've been working with Nav and Business Central for over 15 years now. I've had the pleasure to work with every iteration of the product, and it's a really cool product to work with. And I'm hoping that, based on today's presentation, you'll see how innovative Microsoft is being with this ERP product and why it's so cool. If you'd like to get a hold of me, if you have any further questions, or if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, my information is here on this slide, so you can go ahead and reach out to me. Before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and shut off my camera now, only so it doesn't block any of my slides. But we're going to go ahead and continue with the rest of the the presentation. Okay. To start, this was a fairly big release. Microsoft released over 95 new features in this Business Central release wave. And these features, you get most of them, right when the release comes out on October 1st, but typically you'll see some of the features sort of flow through to April of next year. And those features come in one of three areas. They're either enabled by default, so you get them as soon as your Business Central environment updates to version 25. They'll be in preview, which means that you have to enable them in order to be able to use them. But they're also in a production preview capacity, which means that they're not technically production. You're still kind of testing the features, and there's chances that Microsoft will make changes to them. And then there are the feature management features. These features require you to actually enable them from the feature management page within Business Central in order to be able to use them. Typically, those are for features that come with breaking changes. They're making a critical change to your Business Central environment. So Microsoft is not going to enable those by default. You have to enable those yourself. And then Microsoft gives you time to be able to test those and use those new features before they're enabled by default in your environment. So typically it's about 12 to 24 months before Microsoft enables those features by default, but it gives you time to be able to test them. And it depends on what type of feature it is. It usually falls in one of those three buckets. But as you can see, there are features that are being released throughout the product, from Power Platform to application features. Copilot and AI innovation is a big one. Country development, all the way down to user experience. We're going to dive deeper into reporting and data analysis because that is probably the biggest feature release in this, or one of the biggest feature releases for this wave. So I look forward to talking to you about them. Now, I'm not going to hit all 95 new features. A lot of these features are, I would call, notable mentions. These are ones that I want everyone who's listening to be aware of. So they can, so you can take a look at them. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Let's start with the new features that are within the application. Now, typically these are business process features or business features that they're adding to the application. To start off, let's look at financial management. Within financial management, Microsoft is continuing to add Excel reports that you can download and update data directly out of Business Central. You can access a lot of these Excel reports directly from your Business Central Role Center, which is the main page when you log into Business Central. They added a couple of new reports. One of them is consolidated trial balance, fixed asset details, fixed asset analysis, and fixed asset projected value are the four new reports for consolidation and fixed assets that Microsoft has added with Excel layouts. So you can take advantage of those immediately. In warehouse and inventory management, one of the bigger features that's been added here is the ability to allow more than one user to post to warehouse entries at the same time. This is a fairly big feature because it reduces the locking when multiple users are posting warehouse transactions at the same time. A couple releases ago, Microsoft released a new feature called number sequencing. This allows for the posting of entries into a ledger without, being in sequential order. This allows for users to be able to post without stepping on each other and getting a lot of those table lock issues that we have run into in the past. So this is actually a fairly big feature and will provide significant performance improvements in the environment. Microsoft is also continuing to enhance its project module. So it's very feature rich when it comes to warehousing capabilities, which we all know that it was not in the past. But Microsoft is releasing more and more advanced warehousing functionality within the projects module. With this release, you can now create picks for locations that have directed pick and put away enabled. This release also enables you to create warehouse picks for a project utilizing the pick worksheet. You can also replenish items for projects as part of this release as well. Now, if you recall, Microsoft did rename the jobs module to projects. So when I say projects, for those who are still used to calling it jobs, it is the jobs module that has been renamed to projects. More big improvements for the Shopify connector. So to start, you can add a item as a Shopify variant now. You can synchronize your product translations into Shopify. There's enhancement for B2B customers in Shopify as well. There are two strategies on how to sync a Shopify catalog. One is by your standard price groups in Business Central. The other is by adding a customer number to a specific entry within the Shopify catalogs page, which will then sync customers' unique pricing to your Shopify site. So you have the ability to bring customer specific pricing into Shopify from your Business Central connection now. Shopify is adding shipping charges type and shipping charge is number fields to the Shopify shipping method page. This allows more flexibility to map shipping charges to Shopify orders. You can now sync posted sales invoices from Business Central to Shopify, regardless of if the order was placed in Shopify or not. So that way your B2B users specifically, can see invoices in your Shopify site. This is going to be done using a batch job in Business Central that you can either run manually or run via job queues. This one, see the release notes of how to actually do this, because it'll give you a perfect example how it works. Also, the ability to import and export product info using Shopify meta fields. Meta fields allow you to store additional information about a product or variant. So meta field, you can utilize the Shopify meta fields page in Business Central to map fields to Shopify meta fields to Business Central data. So a lot of great improvements. Specifically, a lot of these are specific to B2B, which is huge for the Shopify connector in Business Central. Now, this is a pretty big release. There is a new module that Microsoft has added to Business Central. It is for subscription management and revenue and expense recognition. What this module allows you to do is to manage subscription for contracts that you are billing on a recurring schedule. Some of these include hardware, maintenance, IT support, cleaning services. The module includes these following features. So from uh, contracts of what you do reoccurring for billing items and services, billing schedules with flexible parameters that cater to typical use for recurring billing, usage-based billing. So if you're providing, energy services or server usage data, you can import usage data into Business Central and create invoices for it. Automated billing, integration into deferral revenue, and then revenue recognition based on business schedules. And then you can also do contract updates based on various parameters and prices. So a couple things to think about with this module. I'm going to highlight them right now. So this module is included in an Essentials BC license, so you do not need a premium license in order to take advantage of it, which is great. It is a standalone module. It is not associated to the service management module or the jobs or project management module. It is its own standalone module in Business Central. Also, the deferral process used in this module is a little different than the way standard deferrals. The existing deferrals process works in Business Central, so that's something to think about too. This is a new module. Microsoft will continue to refine it as it gets feedback from users, but it's pretty powerful right out of the box for very specific use cases. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into this module, I'm going to be doing a webinar on December 17th at 1 o'clock Central Time, unlocking the power of subscription and revenue recognition in Business Central. So you can sign up at anovia.com for this webinar where I will dive into this module a little deeper. Microsoft also has the release notes on their website if you go to ak.ms/BC release plan. Next up is for Copilot and AI innovation. This is a fairly big talk that Microsoft has in the ecosystem right now, and they're really doing a push across all their products: Microsoft 365, Azure, even their ERP systems, to integrate Copilot and AI functionality within it. And Microsoft has continued to add more and more AI functionality within Business Central, starting with several features that are public preview. We have Copilot Chat, analyze list utilizing Copilot, number series suggestions, where Business Central can help you create number series for various modules, e-document matching assistance, sales line suggestions, and the ability to create product information are all production-ready previews of Copilot within Business Central. And then there are two Copilots that are in production and are generally available. That is the marketing text suggestions and bank account reconciliation are both Copilots that are technically in production and in general availability state. So what I want to do is I want to take a second to demo a couple of the Copilot in BC functionality. I've got a video that I'm going to go ahead and show, and the demo that I'm going to show is how to create sales lines within Copilot. So the first one, there's two different methods that you can utilize to create sales lines with Copilot in Business Central, and the first one is just by chatting with Copilot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new sales order and I'm going to select suggest sales lines. From here, I can go ahead and type a natural language prompt to Copilot. And what I'm going to ask Copilot to do is copy lines from an existing posted invoice. As you can see, Copilot returns the lines that are from that specific posted sales invoice. I can update the quantities and insert the lines directly into my sales order. Makes it very easy if you have documents that you want to copy over. You can do this as many times as you want within one sales order or copy the lines over. Very cool functionality to utilize with Copilot. The second method of how to create sales lines is utilizing Excel to upload a document into Copilot. Now, this document may look very familiar to some people, is that you'll get an order from a customer, and the order has some item numbers and quantities, but then the customer may not always know the item number, so they'll provide you the description and the quantity. Well, you can now upload this document directly into a sales order, and Copilot will analyze it and then attempt to create the lines utilizing the data it has. And we'll go ahead and show a demo of that right now. As you can see, I have my Excel document with specific item numbers and quantities and specific descriptions and quantities. I'm going to go into Business Central here. Within Business Central, we'll create a sales order. We'll suggest sales lines from a file. I'll navigate to my file, upload it into Business Central, and then Copilot will do its work analyzing the lines that are part of that document. And as you can tell here, it spit back all the correct product names and quantities, including the 2 items that had descriptions only. Found the product number. If everything's correct, I can then go ahead and insert the lines into my sales order. And now all of the sales lines have been created from that Excel document. This is a very cool tool. This is probably one of my favorite Copilots to see, only because I've done order entry in Business Central before, and manually typing lines or utilizing development to create a custom data port or a custom XML port to import sales lines. This is taking it a step further and being able to do these things out of the box. So Innovia has done several webinars on Copilot in Business Central. Their webinars are called Coffee and Copilot. You can go ahead and go to the URL that's provided here. And upcoming, there is a webinar on December 10th that is entitled What's New in Copilot Wave 2 Release. You can register on innovia.com. So some of those preview copilots that are in production, if you want to learn a little bit more about them, you can go ahead and sign up for that webinar where we will dive deeper into those specific Copilot functionalities. Next is new features within country and regional. So I only have one here to look at, and that is for our US customers. It's integration with the IRS for 1099 submissions. In here, with this functionality, it now adds the ability to integrate with the IRIS platform to electronically send 1099 data to the IRS. And then we'll also send the copy B of a 1099 to your vendors electronically as well. So there's no need to physically save them as a PDF and email them off or physically mail them. This integration platform will automatically take care of all of that for you. There is a webinar coming up for this one as well. If you want to dive into it a little bit deeper on 12/12, there is a webinar on optimizing your 1099 reporting. So you can go ahead and sign up for that webinar at innovia.com. Some new features around development. Now, I will say that I am not a developer, so a lot of these features I'm going to talk to at a very high level, and there's way more than this. I'm just picked out a number of the obvious development features that will move this, that are important to this release. So you can set up easier in-client performance profiling utilizing schedules. If you recall, the scheduling performance allows you to build upon it. It's an existing feature. And what it does is it allows you to analyze a session and analyze the steps somebody is taking to reproduce a performance issue. And it's the in-client's performance profiler within Business Central spits out a lot of valuable data about what extensions were used in the process, what call stack was used as the user was performing their tasks, and then how long it took for that code to execute. The performance profiling with schedules allows you to schedule those performance profiles for a specific user now, and I'll go ahead and show that off. That's actually the demo I have, and I'll go ahead and show that off here in a second. You can run page scripts and pipelines for automated testing now. So those of you who are using ALGo in GitHub, you can utilize the page scripting tool to create page scripts and then include those page scripts in your pipelines to run for automated testing as you're doing your builds. You can specify and use full text search indexes on table fields. That goes hand in hand with a new feature that's been added to this release on being able to do full text searches within Business Central that improves the performance and reliability of searching list pages. There's some additional improved features for document reports, and then you now have the ability to extend AL interface objects. To start, we'll go ahead and dive quickly into a demo here on the scheduling in client performance profiling. So within Business Central, we'll go ahead into the performance profiles or performance. What's the page name again? Profiler schedules. That's the page name. From within here, I can go ahead and create my performance analysis. I'll go ahead and create put a start and end time. I can link it to a specific user ID. And then I can choose what type of tasks I want to go ahead and analyze. I can analyze activity within a browser, background tasks, API calls, etc. And the performance analyzer will analyze that information from that start and end time for that specific user ID and that activity type, as long as it is enabled. So it's a very, very cool feature, especially if it's one of those performance issues where a user says, oh, it happens between this time and this time every single day. You can go ahead and schedule this performance analysis to run during that specific time. That way you are not having to wake up in the middle of the night or schedule it over immediately. Like it gives you the ability to schedule it and let it run, and then you can analyze the performance report later. You can even set your sampling frequency. So if you want any business process that takes over 100 milliseconds to be logged, you can set that as well. As you can see, when I scheduled it, you can see that I have multiple activities logged within the performance profile data. I can even open it up and take a look at the data, and it shows it by app name or publisher. I can even look at the technical information, which includes the call tree for my actions within this particular performance log. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty powerful tool. Adding the ability to do it via scheduling is a huge part as well. Okay. The improved features with document reports, I want to dive into a little bit deeper as well. Once again, Microsoft is giving the ability to allow more, I would say, citizen coders to, there's a new term out there now, or that term that's been going around for a while. The ability to do their own document reporting utilizing Word and Excel layouts directly out of the UI instead of having to do development around it. So with Word layout improvements, there's a new Word add-in that you can install that allows for conditional visibility of text, tables, and rows and columns. So I know this is a pretty big feature to add that is a huge difference between classic RDLC reporting and Word layout reporting is, previously in current versions, you only have the ability to, or you don't have the ability to conditionally hide tables if there's no data in it, or conditionally hide text if a certain condition isn't met. There is now the ability to do that utilizing this Word add-in. You can also apply themes to your Word layout. You could not do that, before. So if you'd like to have holiday themes or watermarks, you now have the ability to add those to your Word layout and then upload them back to Business Central. From the new report layout page that was introduced a couple of versions ago, you now have the ability to export a report schema as a Word custom Excel file. It makes it easier to convert RDLC layouts to Word layouts. You can update a layout with the latest report data set definition if it's been updated, and you can also create a new blank layout for any report from this the report layout page. And then there are also multiple reports where Microsoft is releasing telemetry for actions that you take on a specific report or specific actions on a report layouts page. So if somebody changes a layout, a default layout on a report, or exports a report layout and uploads a new one, that telemetry is now being emitted to Application Insights so you can track that. Now jumping into governance and administration. A couple of the key highlights under governance administration is you now have the ability to manage your environment updates more flexibly. So we'll go ahead and you have more flexibility in managing these updates. I'll go ahead and explain that here in a second. You'll have the ability to manage per tenant extensions within the admin center. So extensions that are installed by yourself or your partner. You can view app compatibility with future versions in the admin center as well. And then you can also get in product notifications about issues with the job queue for background posting. That last one is huge, especially for those that have been using Nav and Business Central for a long time. This is something that never existed, and a lot of customizations were written around this, and it is now built directly in the product. So let's start with environment updates. So first of all, I want to do a caveat. My recommendation is to only use this when required. Microsoft still releases security patches and within cumulative updates and major update releases. So it is very important to stay in line with the latest version of Business Central in the cloud. Microsoft has provided these changes to give you more flexibility and give you more time to test these changes before you push them into production. So to start, for major updates, which is Microsoft's 2 release waves, they're now providing you 5-month update periods for major updates. This change gives more time for thorough testing and preparation before implementing the update. And then they're also providing optional minor updates, which means you do not need to apply a cumulative update, so a dot update, so 25.1.2.3. You can skip them altogether if you wanted to. Now, once again, I do not recommend that because cumulative updates is how Microsoft provides security updates to your environment. So it's very important that you still apply these updates. But what these 2 changes allow for is to give you and your business more time to test in between version changes. The in-product job queue notifications, you can go ahead and now set up utilizing assisted setup in client notifications. As you can tell, when a job queue fails, you can see that a notification is now pinned to your role center. But you can also utilize Power Automate notifications for email notifications as well. So there's a Power Automate template that's going to be released that allows you to set up those notifications of job queue failures via Power Automate, so you can get them via email as well. You can also set up thresholds that allow for job queues to recover. So on the job queue, you have the ability to set the ability for the job queue to attempt it to run it again multiple times. So you can set that threshold up so you're not getting rogue notifications. And then there's also some new tiles that have been added to the role center as well that shows the number of tasks failed, the number of tasks in progress, and the number of tasks that are sitting in queue as well. So some enhancements to the job queue that I'm sure are appreciated for a number of users because now it gives you the ability to monitor your background task much easier. Looking at legislation now. Microsoft is making a huge push for sustainability, especially for larger organizations that require the ability to report on sustainability. Microsoft is adding the ability to add sustainability scorecards and goals. It created a new sustainability role center for you to be able to handle all of your sustainability transactions. You now have the ability to report greenhouse gas emissions via purchase orders. You can use multiple subcategories for one sustainability account. You can purchase carbon credits. You can track sustainability certificates for items and vendors. And you can enable an internal carbon fee calculation as well. So some additional improvements to sustainability have come in this release. For e-document improvements, you have the ability to use e-documents within Power Automate. You can add attachments when sending e-documents now, and then there are also new service providers that are within the e-documents network that have been added to Business Central. Next up is reporting and analysis. This is a big update for Business Central, so we're going to go ahead and dive into them. This is most of my remaining slides. So to start off, Microsoft has added built-in name formulas within Excel layouts. So that's some improvement to the Excel layout reporting. It makes it easier to use data from metadata sheets. Name formulas are now built into Excel layout workbooks. Instead of taking time to develop complicated VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP formulas, you can now use name formulas such as report request.date or report metadata.report help link and stuff like that. So this is a pretty cool add for those Excel gurus out there. A pretty big feature add for Business Central is the use of embedded Power BI reports or native Power BI reporting in general. In the past, yes, there have been Power BI reports released for Business Central, but this is the first big push to have native free Power BI apps for Business Central. That brings the Power BI report count to over 70 reports that are available to you as a user. So with this release, Microsoft has released Power BI apps for finance, sales, purchasing, inventory, manufacturing, and projects. And they're embedded in Business Central. So looking at the report and analysis page within Business Central, you can see all of the different Power BI reports that have been released are embedded into Business Central. And you can also see from your role center, you can get to the Power BI reports as well. What I want to do is take a second to just do a high-level overview for each one of the Power BI apps. And I'm just going to show you some of the overview slides. So looking at the Power BI app for finance, you can take a look at things like your revenue, net profit margin, top 5 vendor balances, asset turnover ratio, net profit margin. But that's not all. Underneath this Power BI app are apps for financial performance for AR and AP, EBITDA reporting, trial balance reporting, balance sheet reporting. Those are all different reports that are part of the Finance Power BI app. Power BI app for manufacturing, you can see here that I'm showing the average production times Power BI report. Power BI app for inventory valuation. This is the inventory valuation overview slide, but you can also have an inventory valuation by location as well. That's one of the reports that's available as part of the inventory valuation app, Power BI app for Business Central. We have the Power BI app for purchasing. Here's the purchasing overview, which shows you your purchasing amount, outstanding amount, amount receipt, amount invoiced, what's been invoiced, purchases by location. So a lot of cool stuff within the purchasing app. So how do I start? How can I start using these Power BI reports? So first, you need to be assigned a Power BI Pro license as a minimum. It's a $10 per month SKU for that you can purchase through your partner. And then once that Pro license is assigned to a user, you can then go ahead and install your Power BI apps. There's an assisted setup in BC that you can run to link the Power BI reports to Business Central. And then from within the Power BI app itself, you then link the app to your Business Central company. Okay. Microsoft released some great information on that. So there's a link right here. We can provide you the slide deck after um, this webinar, and that link will walk you through the various types of reports. And what's great about it too, it shows you all of the different KPIs, how they're calculated, so you understand where the data is coming from within Business Central. I mean, this is a huge push for analytical reporting in Business Central, and this is probably by far one of my favorite features that has been added to this release.
Hey, Gino, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Came through, are the Power BI reports available for Business Central on premise? I didn't hear that.
Good question. No, unfortunately, they are not at this time. Microsoft has only released the Power BI reports to connect to Business Central SaaS. So they're not available for on-prem, but they are available for Business Central SaaS. Thank you, Angie. Okay, so one of the other items is the Power BI connector improvements. Accept language, OData max page size to control performance, report timeout, and also use read-only replica have all been added to the built-in Power BI connector within Business Central to help improve performance when syncing data to Power BI from your Business Central database. The last topic that I want to touch on quickly is on user experience. So the first one that I want to go ahead and touch on is the file upload and attachment enhancements. Microsoft has released the drag and drop on upload dialog to attach multiple files. So if you want to do 2-3 files at a time, you can drag them into the select files window and it will upload all the files at once. And then also Microsoft is going to be depreciating the attachments link that's within a fact box. They are now adding a new document attachment fact box, which allows you to see the visibility, or you have visibility from just a fact box, the attachments that are attached to a specific record in Business Central, which I think is a pretty cool usability enhancement. Reduces the amount of clicks that require you to get to a specific attachment. And then the last item is the new data search method within Business Central. Full text search is now a feature within Business Central. It is extremely flexible. So for example, consider the item named the London swivel chair. And it's part of the Coronis demo company. Legacy search, if you type in the word London chair, it won't find anything because there's no exact match. Using the modern search method, the query will quickly find that item. It allows users to enclose search terms in quotes to narrow the results, similar to popular search engines. So it's really cool. It allows for way better searching on list pages. As you can see, it is not enabled by default, so you can go and when you're on the search box on a list page, you can go ahead and hit the down arrow that's located right here, and then choose modern search, which allows you to search a lot faster. So that I definitely recommend you go give a try, so you can definitely see how much quicker it is to search within Business Central. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to Angie if there are any questions that came through the chat that was not asked yet.
Thank you, Gino. No questions have come through yet.
Okay. Feel free to ask.
Is there anything that you would like to wrap up with while we're waiting for any questions to come through?
No, I mean, so there, like I had said before, there are a lot more features that have been added to this release. There are about 95. I've probably covered 25% of those features. So be sure to read the Business Central release notes. If you want to dive deeper into any of these module or any of these specific changes, please feel free to reach out. But also sign up for those few webinars that I had mentioned throughout the presentation uh, that you can attend to dive deeper into things like Copilot within Business Central, the 1099 reporting, or even the new subscription management module. We'll be doing deeper dives in other webinars for those.
We do have a question. What are
Sure.
your favorite 3 updates? I know you mentioned
Ooh.
one,
So
or I remember one.
so Power BI reporting is and analysis is my first. That's probably my favorite feature within this release. The second is the new subscription the subscription management module that's been added only because that is a feature in a number of competitive products that really aligns Business Central. Uh, uh, and the third one is probably the new notifications for job queues, only because I've been using Business Central Nav for over 15 years, and that is a modification that I have written multiple times and have had requested by customers multiple times, and it's finally built directly into the product. So those are probably my biggest my three favorite features.
All right, sounds good. Well, no questions have come through. Thank you, Gina, for the presentation, and to
Of
everyone
course.
on our webinar. Or if you're watching this on demand, thank you for taking the time out to join us. And I did put a link in the chat for you to learn about more of our resources, and that link is in there. And you can find out all about our upcoming events, our Business Central resources, blogs, case studies, you name it. We have a ton of resources there for you to review. So, thank you again, everyone, for attending, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Innovia webinar.
Thank you,
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.